Banned cards. The idea of opening a pack and only getting 8 out of your usual 9 because one of them might as well not even be there. Weird idea, yes, but we deal with it as sometimes cards are just too good to be allowed to live with the rest of us. Today we look at how much worse things could have been, how far the meta would have warped if these cards that are already banned took on the form of their more powerful anime versions. These are the top 10 banned cards that are better in the anime. Note, we are counting cards that were banned at one point, as well as cards that were banned at one point, errated, and then brought off the list. That's all to say, so let's get into the list. Kicking things off is the bane of any player who faced a Pendulum deck before the banning of this monster due to the insane combos it made as a Pendulum monster. Astrograph Sorcerer is already infamous for the combos it led to, especially with the creation of Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. Everyone should know who this grown-up blue boy is and what he does. Summon from hand with something pops, add a monster that was destroyed from deck to hand, the usual. As well as the Pendulum effect to relate to Stargazer Magician and the standard Zark effect to banish itself, as well as 4 kinds of dragons, or the Pendulum Magicians if you got a brain, to bring out the big cheese. However, the anime version is, way more busted? You see, despite just being an effect monster as opposed to a Pendulum, he can special summon himself and place the destroyed card back onto the field in the same position. And then there's the Zark effect, but turned up to 11 as it can banish the 4 of them from the extra deck as well. All for a mighty destroyer of worlds. Now hopefully that satisfies everyone talking about Zark in my comments. Dude is only even a threat because of his dimension-hopping planeswalker friend made him that way. The way being incredibly easy to summon and sometimes a game winner on legs the moment it comes out. Otherwise, good luck getting him out at all. Next up, hope those wounds from the last entry aren't trying to heal or anything, because we're gonna tear open another one with Grinder Golem. Grinder Golem is exactly the same in the anime as it is in real life, except for one extra line of text in the real life version, restricting you from any and all normal summons or sets during the turn you would special summon Grinder Golem. So let's just look back at how Grinder Golem was a one-card firewall / Saryuja, and how it could go off so much further than most any other token spam deck at the time, and even now, and then tell me how much more you could do if you could also normal summon that turn. I would honestly not even be surprised if there would be an easier FTK to pull off, considering that was just kind of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Was for a while, FTK format after FTK format, because Konami refused to ban an ace monster. Granted, it was always easier with his friend sharing a name with a very large pepper shaker. Next up is Future Fusion, the iconic spell card of Mr. Dueled So Hard He Gave Himself a Heart Attack, Zane Truesdale. Many will remember the power of this card back before the errata that balanced the card to not send the materials to the graveyard immediately and open up immediate plays. However, compared to the anime version, that graveyard setup will be the least of your concerns. You see, Future Fusion in the anime is an equip spell that gives you the immediate mill on top of the summon right then and there. The only downside is the monster cannot attack that turn, but who cares when the monster gained protection from being tributed? AKA, the anime predicted kaijus and future-proofed their Future Fusion. I mean, it makes sense if they can see what's still to happen after all. So not only do you have to deal with milled resources and a free fusion monster, but also the fact that it's an equip spell. And if the modern game taught us anything, it's that equip spells should be feared in the end. When you can just say, I activate Hidden Armory to mill and search Future Fusion, or I synchro summon Power Tool Dragon to reveal 3 Future Fusions and add 1 to my hand, or I send Future Fusion to the graveyard for the effect of Isolde, there's definitely something wrong with your timeline. Oh boy, more token spam enablers! Number 7 is Galaxy Tomahawk. We all know the rank 7 manta ray that just spams the board and goes for all the plays. Well, as for the manga version, aside from the numbers clause, it only needs 1 material to use that effect. Now that alone is pretty good because it lets you use it again. Like, right after you use the first batch of tokens. No, I'm not joking, Manga Tomahawk has no once per turn clause. Not even a hard once per turn, not even a soft once per turn, just, whenever you want. So you can summon Wave 1, make your standard Link plays, and then Wave 2, which can finish the already stupid boards off even harder. If that wasn't funny enough, a minor detail I love is how the tokens count as number monsters. I mean, who cares when you got the amazing spam power of 2 Tomahawk plays in a row? Good on you, number 42. You truly are the answer to life, the universe, and why did I just break my monitor? This is one of the easiest changes to any of the cards on the list, and also easily one of the most imbalanced and hilarious. Card of Safe Return in real life will probably never be unbanned, considering you can draw a card whenever you summon from the graveyard. Now, if you triple the effect of any card in the game, it's probably a whole lot better. Except you, Pot of Generosity, yeah, I gotcha, point stands. So imagine having one card of Safe Return, acting as if you had 3, and allowing you to draw 3 cards, not just whenever you summon something from grave, but whenever your opponent summons something from grave as well. I have never heard of the abomination that is Exodia Zombies before thinking of this card, but hey, it seems like that's a deck with this card. Whoever says Exodia is bricky would have their mind quickly changed by the idea of straight up drawing 3 cards when your deck simply does what it always wants to do anyway and revive itself into relevancy. Run 3 and everything. It's like running 9 copies of a banned card, and every deck would do that if they could. Pot of Greed allows me to draw 6 cards. Prepare to have a bad time, because number 5 is Call of the Haunted, or as it is also known, Call of the Living Dead. We all know the standard Call of the Haunted. It was a staple trap for quick and easy revival for many years, and even in some modern decks. It was banned like a decade ago, and that's why it's on the list, if you're wondering. As for the anime version, well, needless to say, this is the best thing Bones ever gave us. Revival of any number of monsters from your graveyard in spell form? Uh-huh. Treat them of zombies for any zombie-related plays such as fusion and synchros? Uh-huh. Revives any monster being treated as zombies if they are destroyed in battle with a 10% increase to attack when they return? Checkmate. Oh, and also that stacks, in case you're wondering. It's just so dumb. It's like Soul Charge, but continuous and weirdly specific in what it wants to do. You know, that actually reminds me of the best card played in the worst deck. We have Soul Charge, which originally was played in a Guardian deck because God hates you for trying to make sense of your own life. Soul Charge in the anime is the same as the real life one, but with these key differences. The anime version is only 500 life points per monster, you can activate more than 1 per turn, and, oh, I don't know, you can still attack that turn. The monsters you res back will be unable, sure, but you can always just Link Xyz or Synchro them away into anything you want, especially if you draw 2 Soul Charges from selling your soul to Kazuki Takahashi himself. Soul Charge should have never existed, not even limited, and took way too long to actually be banned. So imagine if Sylvans actually had this up their sleeve. They would be a real deck aside from a single Patrick Hope and top, I would imagine. Delinquent Duo on legs will never escape me. At number 3 we have a card being brought up for the 3rd time, fittingly, on my channel. The Hand Destroyer on legs, Topologic GUMBLAR Dragon. If you want to see what I'm talking about, play Delinquent Duo against a friend of yours, then see if they bring out a knife from Salt. If you use the anime version, they would have pulled out a gun, that's the difference. If you want particulars, go on and watch my Broken Boss Monsters video, where he didn't even make it to number 1. You'll have to see what beats him, but since you're still here, I guess we'll move on to the next slot. Any of you absolute degenerates that want to put in the comment section hashtag #UnlockTheShock, just know that that is considered a hate crime in some countries. Shockmaster was the pinnacle of rank 4s. Being able to negate monsters, spells, or traps for a turn is a great stun, and enough to get him banned. However, what if the anime version went even beyond that? I shudder at the horror. For you see, aside from Numbers Clause, Shockmaster seems to have dropped the memo to turn off the torture for only 1 turn, went the extra mile by stunning the effect until the end of their 2nd turn after activation. Stun spell effects? Stun monster effects? Why not? Just why? You're so sadistic, number 16. Why? Why do you do this? Do we need you to go back to therapy? Do we need to ask why your parents didn't love you? We'll go on to number 1. You can go to your therapist. There you go. Bye. For this one, we had to stretch the rules a little bit. When we talk about Call of the Living Dead, it was the card that basically was Call of the Haunted for the beginning of the anime. It had its effects changed, sure, but it shared a name until it didn't, and Call of the Haunted was banned for a certain amount of time in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, so it counts easily for this list. This, however, is so we didn't make this a top 9. You see, Chaos Emperor Dragon was banned for a very good reason. So what happens when you bump it up to the next higher level of being and open its 3rd eye into the astral plane? Well, you get a card that was canonically never played in the show because of its ridiculous power level. Therefore, it's also kinda banned, and it relates to a real-life banned card. I just really want to talk about Chaos End Ruler, Ruler of the Beginning and the End. Because Chaos End Ruler, Ruler of the Beginning and the End, as well as having one of the more redundant names I've ever had to read out in my life, is a card that takes 2 specific monster types and attributes to be banished to summon him, and then kind of... yeah, he just kind of wins the game almost inherently upon winning the field. He just burns for so much and does so much onto the field in both players' hands. It genuinely feels like you're the coolest kid on the playground drinking the best Capri Sun every time you win with this thing. This card tastes like summer. It's absurdly broken and pretty easy to bring out if we're talking usual chaos shenanigans. But if this isn't one of those cards that makes me laugh every time I see it. Fun broken. My favorite kind of broken.